Yo, what's going on guys, Ian77 here. In today's video we're going to be going over the top 5 decks for the Ramp Up Royal Global Tournament. Alright, so the tournament isn't actually out yet at the time of this recording, so I'm just going to be playing these decks on ladder. Even though it isn't Ramp Up mode, I feel like Ramp Up actually isn't like too different from normal battles, so I feel like a lot of the decks that are normally good in normal 1v1 should be pretty good in Ramp Up as well, maybe with like a few substitutions and things like that. But yeah, the first deck here is going to be Log Bait. It is a little bit of a different version than normal. It has like Golden Knight in it, and is the double barrel bait version. So I feel like this deck could actually be quite good in Ramp Up. The Golden Knight especially can get like a ton of value, especially like later in the game as the elixir starts coming in quicker. Your opponents will start like stacking a ton of troops in your Golden Knight, kind of just like chain onto everything. So yeah, I feel like Golden Knight's quite good here, and it's just really good to have like a ton of pressure with this deck. And when you have the Golden Knight on the field, you can actually cycle with like only 3 cards. Like you can do like an entire cycle of cards with only 3 cards instead of 4. So I feel like when you face decks with like log and stuff, you can still kind of outcycle them. So yeah, I feel like it's quite a good deck. And by the way guys, like these decks might not be like completely perfect for the tournament. Like I feel like you could make a few subs for some of them to maybe make them a little bit better. So it's kind of like up to you. Like maybe if you face like a lot of graveyard, you might want to add like poison over like maybe royal delivery in this deck, for example, or like you know, I mean, maybe not this deck, because Logbait does pretty well against Graveyard, but maybe for some of the other decks, you might want to like consider like subbing in stuff like Poison if you face a lot of Graveyard, or maybe like some other spells, just depending on what you face, to be honest. But I feel like these decks in general, they're pretty good in 1v1, but I feel like they also work pretty well in Ramp Up mode. So yeah, most of these decks should at least be like pretty good, just like in the archetype itself, although there could be a little bit of better subs. I mean, actually hit his skeletons there with the prediction logs. So yeah, I wasn't really talking about this game much so far, but we are going to be up against some weird Hog Rider deck with Giant Skeleton. Looks like a normal Hog EQ deck, except it has Giant Skeleton plopped in there, so kind of interesting there. But yeah, that prediction log on those I think skeletons just got us like so much damage. And honestly, like the prediction that I did there, honestly can do it like pretty safely. Like you might think I did it so early that they could like easily dodge it, but pretty much whenever someone tries to like distract a Golden Knight with like a skeletons or like a fire spray, they pretty much always will go for it in that placement. So you can like pretty reliably predict it without really taking much of a risk or anything like that. So yeah, quite good to do, and can get you a ton of damage like we got there. So we do have to be a little bit careful here. We don't have like a poison or anything, as I was saying. We only have log as our direct damage, so just gonna have to be careful here and make sure to not take too much damage. I'm just gonna keep applying pressure so we can't like earthquake cycle us out here. And yeah, I'm gonna go with this Dark Goblin here, and guards are gonna finish off the Hog Rider pretty well right there, and we're just always forcing him to use his logs and stuff like that on our Goblin barrels, so you can't really like attack us quite as much. And Skeleton is going to get one shot there, so just like gradually chipping him down. I will go with a Dark Goblin at the bridge here. I was kind of hoping he'd have like a super slow reaction time, but looks like he will end up blocking it pretty well right here. But yeah, that's why delivery is pretty good in this deck. Like you could use like poison or something, but you can see like delivery just so good against the Archer Queens. That's like the main reason for running it. But I don't know, maybe a few different variations of this deck could probably be pretty good. Alright, so yeah, he's going to be saving his log for our Goblin barrels. He does have like the double small spells. Honestly, this is like a super hard matchup. I'm actually pretty surprised that we're even doing this well. And yeah, guards are pretty good against Hog Rider, so I'm not too worried about defense here. Just want to make sure that we don't allow him to get like too much earthquake damage. And his Hog is actually going to somehow go to our tower there. Not really too sure how it got pushed that far, and he got so much damage suddenly, so we have to be a little bit careful. He's just gonna go with the log on defense, make sure his Hog doesn't get a hit, and hopefully our Goblin Barrel gets down in time. He is gonna have a slight lead, but Okay, Goblin is going to get one stab, and that will be good game. Very intense first game. Alright, so hopping in the next match here, we're going to be using Hog Earthquake as our next deck here. I'm not sure if I actually like really shared much Hog Earthquake gameplay ever since the Earthquake did get the nerf, but I feel like Earthquake is actually still quite good in, or like Hog Earthquake is still quite good in these global tournaments, especially like the last global tournament for the Queso Cup. I was actually using Hog Earthquake in my final game, so I feel like it's definitely not as strong, quite a bit weaker for sure, but I feel like you can still have success with it if you're like really good at it. I'm sure like a lot of you guys are probably you know, using Hog Earthquake as your main deck, so let me know how you guys are doing with Hog Earthquake now. Like, are you guys still feeling good about it, or are you really affected by that Earthquake nerf? Because for me, I'm doing pretty okay still. I haven't really played too much Hog Earthquake ever since the nerf, but I might make a video on it pretty soon, kind of give you guys like a bit of an update on how the poor Earthquake is doing. But I feel like it's honestly like not doing too bad. I feel like Earthquake isn't quite as good in like these cycle decks like the one I'm using now, but I feel like if you're really good at it, you can still have a lot of success with it. And I feel like the Earthquake is still pretty good with like heavier decks, like maybe you guys know about that RG Giant Skeleton deck. I feel like Earthquake is still good at taking out buildings, but it's not really too good against the actual towers, so I feel like it is still decent, but it does have a bit of a different purpose now. But yeah, I'm just gonna Earthquake here. He's gonna go with 3 Musketeers there, and the Earthquake was kind of just to like slowly just take out a little bit of the 3 Musketeers health here, so that our Queen and our towers should be able to take it out a little bit easier, hopefully. Okay, unfortunately the Musketeer does actually lock onto our tower. I was hoping the Fire Spirit would tank for it, but looks like the Fire Spirit will lock onto his tower, so it was kind of worth it actually. And he's gonna go for an Elixir Collector here, but just gonna get an Earthquake on it. It's gonna be like a free +1 Elixir trade, so Earthquake's actually the only spell in the game besides like a Goblin Barrel or something that gets like a positive Elixir trade on the Elixir Collectors, so yeah, pretty nice. And we're just gonna go with the Queen here. It is gonna be a little bit hard to defend his big pushes since he does have like the Giant to pretty much like tank everything easy, so we do have to be a little bit careful here. We have a pretty good lead, but it's definitely not over yet. And just gonna Earthquake. You want to save our Fire Spirit for his minion horde, and yeah, he's gonna go for it here. Just gonna get a Fire Spirit, and perfect timing. Fire Spirit gonna just like hit everything, his entire minion horde, and his Musketeer did get a couple of shots off in the right lane, but honestly pretty good defense overall right here. And yeah, so I feel like the main matchups where Hog Earthquake is worse in, like, there's not too many, but I feel like especially against like control decks, like maybe Xbow and maybe like Mortar and kind of just like those Tesla minor control decks, or like even Inferno Tower minor control decks, it is a little bit worse against. Inferno Tower is pretty good in general, but when there's like Tesla control decks, I feel like those decks are a little bit harder to beat. So yeah, it is a little bit worse, but I feel like you can definitely still outplay a lot. And we're going to try to get 2 Earthquakes off here. I'm hoping we can defend well. Yeah, just going to go with another Hog here. You should have to like spend guards and probably a Zap too to stop that. Yeah, he will go for the Zap here, but he is in Earthquake plus log range, so I think we should be able to win here. It is going to be a little bit close. We're going to get the Earthquake off, going to get the Fire Spirit off just to ensure that we can defend, and that will be a good game. Okay, hopping in the next match, we're going to be using Xbow. So I feel like Xbow is just super solid in the global tournaments, and especially after the Earthquake nerf, I feel like Xbow's really quite a good deck in global tournaments, and I feel like it's not too bad in ramp up. Like, you might think a lot of these cycle decks that I'm showing aren't really good in ramp up, but they actually still work quite well. Like, ramp up isn't like necessarily like only a game mode where beatdown can be viable. I feel like cycle's quite strong as well, so I feel like Xbow should definitely be quite strong. And looks like we will be facing some I think it's actually a Hog deck here. I did see this guy playing at the top of ladder before. I think he has like Hog Princess Rocket, so gonna be an interesting matchup here. Honestly, like it's like pretty good on paper, but the annoying thing is just like the princesses at the bridge. We can't really do anything about it. I mean, we can like try to block them, but seems like he's always sneaking the princesses in, and just from like the princess first play, he pretty much got like a rocket worth of damage on our tower, which is quite annoying. And we'll actually predict our Ice Spirit right there, so it's not too bad of a matchup, I think, but it is just a little bit annoying sometimes. But yeah, hopefully we can come back here. We are running archers and Ice Spirit, by the way. Like Queen is quite good as well, but I feel like I'd kind of prefer archers in the global tournament at least. They just feel like a little bit more safe sometimes, and Ice Spirit did get the buff as well, so it's quite good with archers. But I feel like if you're running the version with Queen, I feel like E-Spirit is better with Queen, and I feel like Ice Spirit is better with archers, so you kind of just have a couple different uses for a couple of the different card slots depending on what you kind of want to do. But yeah, this should be pretty good here. And yeah, I don't want to really play anything next to our Xposed. He's probably gonna rock it, and yeah, he does go for it there, but we do have a slightly faster cycle than him, I think. Or yeah, I think we have like just like a slightly faster cycle than him, like a 1 elixir quicker cycle, so we should be able to like out-cycle in here just by continually applying pressure. I'm gonna fireball his Ice Golem, and yeah, that worked out super well for us. I kind of just like fireballed the Ice Golem just to like catch him off guard, and it worked super well right there. Like one of the best things you can do with Xbow is to go with like those really aggressive fireballs on their like units that are tanking your Xbow, and it kind of just like surprises them, so they're not really expecting it at all. And sometimes your Xbow will get a log because they just didn't have quick enough reaction time. And I will go with a fireball here. He spent like the princess at the bridge, so he did give us like a positive 1 elixir trade, and if he tries to rocket our towers, we should be able to break through pretty well with our Xbow. So yeah, feeling pretty good right here. He is going to go with a hog on our Xbow, and E-Spirit will kind of catch everything, unfortunately, but I think our Xbow should be able to finish off the princess and might get like a shot on the tower. Yeah, it does get one little pierce there, so looking pretty good right here. He's going to go with the mini P.E.K.K.A. Ice Golem at the bridge. Just going to go with a knight here, and going to go with archers off to the side. He does go for the E-Spirit, but I'm not even going to play my skeletons into it. Just going to use it on this mini P.E.K.K.A. right here, and going to set up with another Xbow here in a second. And yeah, looking quite good right here. Don't want to like fireball or anything right here. He is going to go with the mini P.E.K.K.A. plus bats. He's kind of trying to save his rocket, I suppose. And unfortunately the mini P.E.K.K.A. wasn't hit by the Ice Spirit. If it was hit by the Ice Spirit, I think we could have taken most of his tower right there. But we're honestly in a pretty good spot. This is exactly where you want to be in a matchup like this, like just a little bit ahead. Because yeah, like in triple elixir they can usually chuck a rocket or two on your tower, so you do have to be a little bit up in damage before triple elixir starts, just to be in a good spot and make sure that you can pick up the win. So yeah, his princesses are being a little bit annoying. Like we do have log for his princess, but he's always like making sure to go for them in the opposite lane, so either we have to log his princess or log his tower, but either way we're not going to be able to log both of them. And honestly, log chip damage on their tower is actually a pretty big part of how you get damage with Xbow in a lot of matchups, so it is a little bit of a trade-off. And we're going to go for the fireball here. Going to kill the bats and the Hog Rider, and he will go for the rocket here, but I just don't see how he's going to defend, and Xbow will lock on his tower, so I think this will be a good game right here. Yeah, honestly, we kind of just like got him in a really awkward cycle, and since we were up in damage, he had to play kind of over-aggressive. Alright, hopping in the next match, you're going to be using Royal Giant, so yeah, you guys may have noticed that Royal Giant made like a really big comeback soon, and I don't know how many of you guys watched my previous video, #1 in the world with RG, but as I was saying, like in that video, I feel like RG made a pretty big comeback because Earthquake got like the emergency nerf, and Earthquake was one of the biggest counters to RG. Well, not Earthquake in itself, but like the decks that ran Earthquake, so I feel like now that Earthquake decks are quite a bit weaker, I think RG is in a super good spot right now. And there are a couple versions of RG that you can try. You can either run this version or the one with like Hunter, Tombstone, and like Skeleton King, but it's kind of up to you guys depending on your personal preference. And yeah, as I was saying, like you can also make a few subs, like depending on what you're facing. Like you can run Lightning over Fireball if you face like a lot of Queen decks, or like Witches and Wizards, or you can kind of run like Mother Witch maybe in this deck if you face a lot of Graveyard, or yeah, you can like make a few subs here. You can even like if some of you guys don't actually have Ghost leveled up too low, you can also put Dark Prince as a sub. Like, I didn't mention that in the last video, but there are quite a few good subs here. Honestly, the main cards you need in this deck are just going to be like your Royal Giant and the Fisherman. Like, those are the main two cards, but besides that, you can kind of like sub most of this stuff out for other things. But yeah, we're going to be back to another Queen ability here, so yeah, in a really good spot right here. The early lava didn't really work out too well for him, but I am a little bit scared here because we don't have like Hunter or something, so we can only like cycle one queen on the board at a time, so we do have to be a little bit careful right here. Alright, and yeah, we're kind of just going to be like delaying our queens. You're going to like make sure to like go with them right on top of his units rather than the lava, because if we go with them on his lava, I mean our queens on his lava, they're not really going to do too much. They're kind of just gonna like take only a little bit of health off of the lava, but then die pretty quickly after. And he's gonna take our tower here. Couldn't really stop it, to be honest. Not really too sure what we could have done differently right there. Maybe could have done a few things better, but not really sure if it would have made too much of a difference. And he's kind of like spamming still with the lumberjack. Honestly, not the best lumberjack by him, I think. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. We are gonna probably take his tower here on the left side, but he is setting up for a pretty big push, so I'm just going to go in here with the RG. I'm going to go with the E-Spirit as well, but unfortunately the E-Spirit dies right before it connects there, so honestly that was pretty bad for us right there. If that E-Spirit had connected, I think our RG may have taken like most of his tower, but just going to defend with a Fireball here. Perfect timing, and going to make sure to protect our queen as much as we can. I'm going to go for an E-Spirit here, and wow, such a good value E-Spirit right there. That's why you can see like how OP E-Spirit can be with this RG deck. I feel like E-Spirit is definitely the best spirit by a pretty good amount actually. And he's gonna go for the baby dragon there, but it is gonna get lured back by the RG, and oh no, it's gonna be really close. Ah, good game. If I played my E-Spirit a bit better or saved my log, I probably could have won. Alright, hopping in the next match, we're going to be using Mortar here. So as you guys may have seen from like a lot of other CR YouTubers, like everyone's pretty much complaining how OP Mortar is right now, and it really is a very good deck right now. Just like that, it has so much HP in it, like gets so many incidental shots because of its blind spot. So I feel like Mortar is very good right now, and honestly it holds up pretty well even in the ramp up challenge. And yeah, honestly, like for the ramp up challenge, I don't have like too many tips for it specifically. You kind of just like want to play pretty normal, to be honest with you guys. And yeah, honestly, like it's pretty normal. You kind of just want to play how you would normally play. Don't be like too aggressive or anything just because you have a lot of elixir. You kind of want to I don't know, you just want to use your cards smartly still, but you can be a little bit more aggressive at times because you'll have more elixir to defend. So yeah, that's really like the only suggestion that I have for you guys. Alright, looks like we'll be facing Hog Mini P.E.K.K.A again, which is going to be quite interesting here. I guess Hog Mini P.E.K.K.A is actually kind of popular again or something, because we are facing it quite a bit here. And yeah, he's going to go for the Hog right. They're going to just go with a defensive Mortar, but you can just like see how much HP the Mortar has. Like, it's just not going to die to that Hog. And yeah, honestly, the kind of broken thing about Mortar is that even like a Hog plus Fireball won't even break through a Mortar, even though the Mortar doesn't even attack the Hog Rider. It just like tanks for it, but the Hog still won't even get a single shot on your tower. So that's kind of what I feel like feels kind of broken about Mortar. I wouldn't mind like a 5% HP nerf to Mortar or something like that, but we're gonna have to wait and see until the next balance changes if they decide to nerf it a bit, because they did nerf Earthquake, and Earthquake was one of the best counters to Mortar, so kind of makes sense that Mortar is a little bit broken right now. But I do kind of enjoy playing Mortar myself. I think it's a pretty interesting deck, and there's a lot of outplay potential, so it is quite nice. And we're gonna have to go for a Valkyrie. You don't really want to take any chances against this Mini P.E.K.K.A, and he will go with the Mini P.E.K.K.A plus Bat. Just gonna go with the Queen right. We're gonna go with Skeletons as well, and unfortunately that Hog Rider probably will get a ton of damage on our tower. I was kind of hoping our Queen might have went back to hit it, but didn't end up doing that right there. And he was tough to respond to our Queen, but it's looking kind of bad for us. His Princes are just getting so much damage as well, but not gonna give up yet. We're still in a pretty okay spot. Not really nearly an ideal spot, but we're gonna have to see what we can do here. We do still have like really good defense, and our miner can kind of chip away. We just have to be a little bit careful of him when he starts to rocket cycle us out. Alright, so we're just gonna go with the queen ability here. You can kind of go with your queen ability pretty freely, like even on defense. Like, don't be afraid to use your queen ability even if it doesn't look like too many troops that you're defending on the defensive end, because it will still charge up for your next offensive sequence most of the time. And he's gonna get one hog hit there, but honestly our miner's getting probably like just as much damage as his hog was getting, if not even like more, so pretty happy with that right here. And gonna go with another queen right here. The queen kind of just like blocking up the entire lane, even though he's not really I don't know, even though the queen isn't really getting on his tower at all, it's still like kind of blocking the lane up whenever he tries to do stuff. And unfortunately that mini P.E.K.K.A will kill our queen. If he had got the ability off, it would have been super good for us there, but you can't really be fast enough to predict the mini P.E.K.K.A like that unless you just like go for it as a prediction. You can't like go with it reactively. So I'm just going to defend here, chill out, get a bit of miner chip there. He's going to go for the mini P.E.K.K.A on our miner, but we are getting very close to being back in the lead, and he might start rocket cycling us pretty soon here, but honestly pretty happy with where we're at. And the queen is just applying a ton of pressure, so we're not really like ever allowing him to go with the actual rocket cycles here. And yeah, he's going to get a lot of value on the queen and mortar, but still looking pretty fine here. Miner is chipping away constantly, and we're in a very close spot right now. Just gonna go with the high mortar here to make sure that we can also like force him to spend some distraction units right there, and just gonna give him a few emotes as well. And yeah, he's going for hogs in the opposite lane, but honestly not really too worried about them. They're not really gonna do too much from it. And we're gonna go for a miner plus fireball here. I was kind of hoping to hit bats or something, but looking pretty okay. And not gonna go for the mortar right away, just gonna go for a miner here. Want to make sure we have the mortar on defense for his Hog Rider, and I think we probably did win here. I'm just going to chuck a fireball, and rocket won't be enough. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!